The boy is about to feed his puppy when he accidentally spots the dog's collar on the ground. Just then, his father returns home carrying a shovel. The boy eagerly asks about the puppy's whereabouts. Looking at the shovel in his hand, his father casually replies that the puppy has flown to Mars. The boy believes this firmly. Clutching a photograph of the puppy, he sheds tears of sorrow and secretly makes a resolution to become an astronaut in the future to go and retrieve his dog. The next morning, the boy cobbles together furniture and tries to build a crude rocket using a fire extinguisher, but it fails to lift off. Looking up at the sky, his desire to fly to Mars only grows more intense. 20 years fly by, and the boy succeeds in becoming an astronaut. With everyone's attention on him, he boards a spaceship and heads for Mars. His only wish for this trip is to find his puppy. After a long journey, the spaceship successfully lands on Mars. The boy continuously calls out for his puppy, but after searching repeatedly without success, he feels deeply dejected. Just as he is about to give up, the long-awaited puppy finally appears. It turns out that this journey was not just a solitary search, but a testament to how both of them, over the long passage of years, held fast to their missing of each other and their promises. Pure love in the heart and unwavering faith can break the boundaries of reality, turning what was once impossible into a vivid, tangible reality. The girl broke up with her boyfriend, but he couldn't let go. So, he hugged their dog tightly and ran all the way back to his place. That night, clutching a piece of the dog's tail, he didn't close his eyes for a single moment. The next morning, he brushed his teeth and cleaned up his messy room, but that piece of the dog's tail kept on wagging gently. No matter where he went, he had to take this dog with him. As the days went by, the dog kept growing longer and longer. Once, when he took the subway, the dog's body blocked the doors, making it impossible to close them. He had no choice but to get off the train. It was pouring with rain outside, and he walked home in the downpour. After finally reaching his front door, he couldn't even close it because the dog's body was far too long. Everything around him was a constant reminder of the dog's presence. As time slowly passed, the dog's body occupied his entire life, even spreading throughout the whole city. One day, while drinking coffee at home, he suddenly saw his ex-girlfriend walking by on the street. Overcome with excitement, he ran toward her immediately. But the massive body of the dog completely blocked the distance between them. Watching his ex-girlfriend walk further and further away, he pulled at the dog desperately, and his emotions finally collapsed completely. Looking at everything before him, he finally understood. Only by letting go could he have a broader path ahead. He looked down at the dog, gave it a gentle stroke, and slowly let go of his grip. It wasn't that he didn't love her anymore, but he realized that it was finally time to move on. The father accidentally falls off a cliff. The boy reaches out desperately to grab him, but his fingertips remain just a distance away. The father faces death several times, nearly plunging to his doom. In the critical moment, the father thinks to use his gun to bridge the distance. He hands the stock of the gun to his son and grips the barrel himself, using this leverage to scramble upward. However, the cliff wall is slippery with no foothold. His grip slips and his body falls again. In his panic, the boy clings tightly to the gun, and in the confusion, he accidentally pulls the trigger. Following the gunshot, the pocket watch on the father's chest falls to the ground. The lid springs open, and the hands continue to tick tirelessly. The boy is stunned, unable to accept that he has accidentally killed his own father. This guilt haunts him for decades. Years later, he returns to the cliff's edge, a place both familiar and terrifying. He slowly removes his hat and gazes at the spot where his father fell, finding no path to forgiveness within himself. He closes his eyes and leans forward, falling without hesitation. Just as he is about to plunge, a sudden flash of light streaks past, as if his father's spirit has awakened him. He turns back abruptly, grips the edge of the cliff, and struggles to pull himself up. He picks up the pocket watch his father dropped so long ago and gently brushes away the dust. In this moment, he finally accepts the self of the past and forgives the panicked, helpless boy he once was. He realizes that living on with his father's love is the greatest tribute he can offer in return. Wherever the old lady goes, a clean, white cloud follows closely above her head. It turns out the cloud is her late husband. He draws water from the well to dampen the tombstone, sweeps it clean with care, arranges a bouquet of fresh flowers, and tidies up the grave meticulously. Then, he gently settles beside his wife, his gaze full of tenderness, accompanying her as she slowly walks out of her grief. Suddenly, the sky darkens with heavy clouds, and a torrential rain pours down. The old lady hurries into a small wooden cabin by the cemetery. As the thunder rolls, she is just as afraid of the lightning as she had always been. The husband immediately swoops down from the rooftop, inhaling deeply and puffing himself up larger and larger until he transforms into a thick, protective canopy, firmly shielding the cabin and blocking out the roaring thunder and the storm. He protects his most cherished one in the most clumsy yet resolute way possible. When the rain clears and the sun returns, the old lady notices that the flowers in front of the tombstone have been scattered by the rain, so she rushes over to rearrange them. Her husband quietly drifts behind her and gently kisses her cheek. The old lady is suddenly stunned. She instinctively raises her hand to touch her cheek and looks up at that cloud in the sky as it gradually drifts away. It turns out that love never truly leaves. It simply transforms into the wind. Time may take away the past, but tenderness will endure through the years. The sun proactively greets the moon, yearning to touch it with all its heart. Yet, the moment its fingertips draw near, the sun is instantly eroded by a heavy, encroaching darkness, though fortunately, it suffers no lasting harm. Seeing this, the moon feels conflicted. It longs to step forward and offer comfort, but burdened by guilt, it turns and flees. From then on, the moon deliberately avoids the sun, fearing that it might cause the sun harm. However, the sun refuses to give up and comes up with a plan. It carefully sends a bouquet of sunflowers to the moon, but unfortunately, the sunflowers fear the darkness and wither before long. The two part ways unhappily once again. Undeterred, the sun brings out an unopened flower bud, hoping to invite the moon to be brave brave and try one more time. This time, the bud quietly blooms in the deep of the night. Overjoyed, the sun plants an entire field of gentle flowers for the moon. The moon finally makes up its mind to draw close to the sunday, but the sun, in turn, fears that its own heat might hurt the moon. Just then, the moon scatters all the light it has collected from the sun across the sky, and so, dusk is born. It turns out that the moment dusk descends is the day when you and I rush to meet one another. On the day of the girl's birthday, Grandma boiled a pot of soup with smelly socks inside. Staring at the 28th circled on the calendar, the girl lay on the floor, heartbroken, using chalk to outline the strawberry cake she had been dreaming of. She had been excited to show Grandma some flowers, only to find shriveled carrots hanging on the clothesline and that baffling pot of sock soup. It turned out Grandma had developed dementia. Even with her memories fading, she never forgot her granddaughter's birthday. She went to the bakery to buy the strawberry cake the girl loved most. That day, the girl waited alone at home for a long time. When Grandma pushed the door open, skipping with joy, she was clutching nothing but a birthday hat. The girl took Grandma's hand to search everywhere, and it was only then that Grandma remembered the strawberry cake had been left behind at the bus stop. The girl was so hungry her stomach growled, but she hid under her covers, sulking. Seeing this, Grandma hurried into the kitchen to make her granddaughter a one-of-a-kind birthday cake. The rich aroma of eggs soon filled the room. The girl peeked out to see only a plain-looking egg pancake. Grandma patiently fed her the first bite, and unexpectedly, it tasted delicious. The girl wolfed down the entire pancake. From then on, every birthday, Grandma would forget to bring the cake, but she would always make egg pancakes to make it up to her granddaughter. Until the 5th birthday, it was the familiar egg pancake, but then came the sound of a car horn outside the window. Her parents had come to take her back to the city for school. Grandma put on a brave smile as she waved goodbye, but her tears fell uncontrollably. Years later, it was that same circled 28th. Grandma, now with a head full of white hair and wearing the same lace apron she had worn for years, finally brought a cake home completely intact. But the little figure who used to eat those pancakes was gone. Grandma gazed out the window with a lonely expression, and seeing a spoon hanging on the clothesline, a little face suddenly popped out. It was her granddaughter back home. Grandma put the same birthday hat on her granddaughter. Now it looked tiny on her head. Grandma brought out the strawberry cake and fed her a few bites, but she felt as if something was missing. Late that night, the granddaughter was hungry. Hearing her, Grandma immediately scurried into the kitchen. Before long, that most familiar egg pancake from her memories was served on the table, exactly the same as in her childhood, as if they had returned to that summer long ago. Although Grandma always forgot to bring the cake, her love for her granddaughter was never absent. Memories may fade, but that tender companionship has long been tucked away into the daily rhythms of the years, never having truly left.